A Blackberry moment, as described by speaker Ernie Johnson, is a moment that makes your day, makes someone else's, or is a lesson waiting to be uncovered. Last summer, I experienced not a Blackberry moment, but a Blackberry morning. I had just experienced a very woeful week, which is unusual for my bubbly and optimistic self. I went to the doctors 2 days earlier and they diagnosed me with mononucleosis. This illness causes chronic tiredness and fatigue. The doctor told me that I was unable to work if I wanted to get better, which was disappointing. I was working at a summer camp and absolutely loved it, so I was crushed to hear the news. What happened 2 days later on August 12th blindsided me and was completely unexpected. I was walking out of Target after embarrassingly purchasing hemorrhoid cream, not for a hemorrhoid problem, but because the doctor recommended it as a treatment for my swollen eyes. Just as I was walking out, I saw a man crossing the street drop something from his pocket. As I approached the item, I realized it was a $20 bill. Of course, everyone would have thought about keeping the money for a split second, but I knew I could not, so I hurried to catch up with the man. I stopped him as he was getting into his car and tried to return the money. He refused. He thought it was admirable that a teenage girl would run to catch him and give it back, so he insisted that I keep the money. I was shocked. It felt great to know that doing the right thing literally and figuratively paid off. This reiterated for me that the morally correct thing always reaps benefits, whether immediate or not. The random man made my day, but that's not how my morning ended. With the money I had just been given, I planned to go to my favorite diner for breakfast, Steve's. As I drove into the parking lot, I realized that I would have to wait an hour for a table, being that the line was out the door, so I went down the street to George's Diner instead. When I walked into the diner, I immediately noticed an adorable old man, dressed in a fine suit and sitting alone. He was precious and reminded me of an old couple my dad and I saw at a diner in Massachusetts. I was a bit younger, but remembered very clearly my dad wanting to surprise them by secretly paying it forward for their meal. And I felt the urge to do the same for this man in front of me. I was seated at a booth and asked to pay for his breakfast anonymously. Unfortunately, my change was not enough to get myself anything to eat, but the man's reaction would soon make it all worth it. I saw him getting choked up from across the restaurant, but it was not until the waitress told me what he had said that I got goosebumps. He had explained to her that every Sunday him and his wife came to George's Diner for breakfast, and coincidentally, every Sunday his wife paid for someone's meal. Then she told me that his wife died the past week, and that is when I started to tear up. This was a life-changing Blackberry moment, not for me, but for this man who felt that his wife had given him a sign of closure. What I took away from this day was that my life does not always have to follow a step-by-step plan. Sometimes the unpredictability can bring about life's sweetest moments, the Blackberry moments. Eventually, everything comes full circle. If I did not have mono, I would not have been buying my hemorrhoid cream, never would have been given $20 from the man, and never would have used it to buy the old man's breakfast. This day was one of the happiest I've ever had, and I believe that if everyone shared a few more random acts of kindness, the world would truly be a better and sweeter place. I wish that every person can at some point feel the way I did on August 12th and continue to send on Blackberry moments for others to experience.